Hi guys, and welcome to round 12's Coaches Wrap, proudly brought to you by Vero, one of our great sponsors, especially this segment. Well, what can one say? Very disappointing effort on the weekend, as we all know, and based on all the questions I've had from the mighty Lion fans out there, I'll try and get through as many as I can, which is basically what I've done the presentation on, but I'm feeling all the pain like you supporters. All the players and coaches and staff at the club are obviously feeling the pain just as much as you guys, so just need to work through it and obviously get better and put up a better performance this week against West Coast. Just going through the questions from this week. The first one is, why is our midfield so reactive and constantly second to the ball? It has been a bit of an issue for us in the past, but a lot of the times on the weekend, I'm going to show you one edit in particular, and you'll see a few more as you get through it, but we actually had a big focus on getting out of stoppages a lot quicker this week, and as you can see in this edit, we've actually outnumbered Fremantle around the contest, which we did for most of the day, to be honest. The problem was, and you see here in this big ring here, it's actually a 5v3, so there's 5 Brisbane players and 3 Fremantle players. Problem was on the weekend that unfortunately we fumbled, we missed tackles, our ground balls were poor, so it doesn't matter how many numbers you got around the contest, if you can't handle the footy effectively or you can't lay a good tackle, there's no use in getting there. So it was a really disappointing part of our game. So right here, we outnumber the opposition. So the first part of it's okay. But as you'll see here with Nick Robinson, he fumbles the football. Then we got an opportunity to tackle, we miss another tackle. Miss another tackle, Fremantle win the football, we miss another tackle, so you can see, and then we lay a poor tackle. So within that clip right there, you saw that we actually outnumbered the opposition in most of those contest areas, but again, just our inability through our skill level to be able to lay a tackle or to be able to win the football. So that was a real disappointing part of the game. And just to let you in on what happened in the review yesterday, we actually showed 8 minutes of actual edits where we fumbled, missed tackles, and there was like 125 of them for the game. So as a coaching group and playing group, we showed those. We spoke through it. It's not acceptable from a playing group, and we just need to get better at training it as coaches and making sure our effort in this weekend is a lot better than that. So the question is a good question, but we actually did outnumber the opposition quite a lot, but the last part of it wasn't done to the level that we needed to be done. The next question was, can you please explain how this can happen? A very good question. It's a centre bounce. And as you can see here, ball goes up, 1 fumble, 2nd fumble, 3rd fumble. So within the radius of 10 metres, we've had the opportunity to win the football 3 times and we've fumbled it on each of those occasions. So what ends up happening here? Again, I'll replay it. Fumble, you've got Mays versus Ballantyne, and you've got Cutler versus Smith. Smith's at the contest now. Tommy Cutler's behind the contest, about 15-20 metres off it. Again, the ball is in dispute. This is a contested ball situation. Previous 2 weeks, we've been quite good in this area. On the weekend, we were very poor after about the first 20 minutes of the game. We lose the contest. Right here, play for a free kick. They win the football. Nick Robinson-Slater reacts. Mitch Robinson misses a tackle. Pierce Hanley, a poor attempt to tackle. Right now you can see 3 Fremantle blokes ahead of the football, and you can see Tommy Cutler, who's worked boundary side. What he's doing out there is probably beyond us as coaches. So as a coaching group, again, we point out to Tom that he needs to read the cues better and get to a position like this where he can impact the next contest. If he's in this position where he should be, then they can't get the ball over the top to the Fremantle player. If they do, Tom is in a position where he can tackle or at least bring the ball to ground and we get an opportunity to win it back. So this part of it is playing the role. We call it playing your role. Didn't do it to the efficiency that we needed it done. And as a result, sometimes you get what you deserve. So we fumbled, we missed tackles, we didn't play our role, and it becomes a training drill for the opposition. Very hard to watch, I understand, as supporters. Okay, so within that whole segment, we had 4 fumbles, 2 missed tackles, 1 guy playing for a free kick, and 1 player not playing his role. So that's 8 instances within a 20-second period that enabled Fremantle to kick that goal. Again, not good enough, and again, an area we need to get better in terms of our competitiveness and our effort. So we'll train that today really hard, and make no mistake, as a playing and coaching group, we take responsibility for it. We drew a line in the sand yesterday and spoke about it in our review. We're not going to be hiding behind it. We need to get better in this area of our game. Just going through another question, what were the tackles compared to previous weeks? What we do is we code our tackling. So you can see here the missed opportunities we had to tackle. You've already seen examples of it within the footage I've showed. We had 6 missed tackles through footwork, 4 through guys just reaching out rather than trying to tackle effectively, 8 through guys not smashing into the contest, and 19 guys who didn't grab an arm of the opposition to force a tackle. Again, you saw those in those 2 edits I've showed. All in all, that's 37 missed opportunities within the game. Definitely not good enough. And we had 2 free kicks against us, 1 for in the back and 1 too high. So basically 40 in total. We had an opportunity to win the footy back or put pressure on the opposition, and we didn't take it. So again, we'll just keep training it and training it and training it and making sure we get our players to a level of consistency where they're doing it all game. And this is another example, and this is what we have on game day, and I've just highlighted. You can see there we've got 11 players who had 2 tackles or less. And again, as I've written down there, that's unacceptable as a playing group and as a team. So one thing you can bring to a game is effort, and that's what we need to bring this week against the Eagles. So again, we'll train it this week and hopefully come with that effort this week. Another question was asked of us about why we're playing 2 ruckmen. Again, I've got an example here in rounds 4 to 8, and you can see we ranked 18th in terms of our clearances, minus 36, I think it is, and also at all stoppages, minus 60. That's over a 4-week period. What we found was that Steph's had a very, very, very high work rate. He's carrying, I suppose, everything on his shoulders for the first 8 weeks, getting a bit tired, still recovering from his concussion against the Gold Coast. So we thought it was a good opportunity to bring in another ruckman. Westy's come in, and he's actually made a big difference for us around stoppages. You can see there we've moved up in the last 4 weeks to 10th in terms of our contested ball and our clearance numbers. So it's certainly having an effect. Absolutely understand that Steph has probably struggled a little bit down forward, but it's more about getting our numbers around the source, giving us an opportunity to get the ball inside 50. So again, it's an area we'll look at this week, whether we do play with 2 ruckmen or whether we go back to 1 ruckman and bring another forward in. So that's basically the reason why we did that. Some other questions. Why was Freeman dropped without a tall replacing him, especially when getting game into young ones? Again, we made a conscious decision that 3 talls wasn't working for us. Our pressure inside 50 wasn't great. The opposition were getting the ball out too easily, so we decided to go with 2 talls last week. Again, unfortunately, it didn't work for us. The opposition still got the ball out quite easily. One of the big key stats in football is time in your forward 50, and we haven't been great at it, so we try to find a way to mix up smalls versus talls. And again, this week we'll look at whether we go back to 3 talls and hopefully mark the ball inside 50. A difficult task with the young team after travelling. Should more changes occur? Yeah, it is an interesting one. We've spoken about resting a few guys, especially after interstate trips, especially the younger guys, Keezy, Shaki, etc. But the reality is that need for level, we're probably having the performances that we want in terms of coming up to AFL level. We've got a philosophy that obviously guys need to earn their spot, but in also saying that we want to keep getting games into the younger guys that are playing. So we should talk to our fitness guys about whether they're okay to keep playing in terms of their freshness. And the answer is yes. So we just keep playing them until we think they're ready to have a break. And how well do we go for the first 15 minutes, hit every target and then fall away? Great question. First 20 minutes we played some outstanding football, some good flow, fast football, and scored 3 goals, 1-0. Unfortunately, the opposition started to pressure us up a little bit. We probably went into our shells a little bit, didn't take some risks with our ball movement, and as a result, we turned the football over. The opposition hurt us the other way, and we went into our shells, and as you saw from the edits, we just didn't have the pressure, and we didn't have the competitiveness that we needed. So very, very, very good for the first 15 minutes. After that, it was extremely disappointing. So hopefully that's answered all your questions for the week. And just to cap off, one thing we've got to do with the group, we have got some players who are young, but we've also got some players who we need more from. Some experienced players, some middle of the age group players who need to be better. So as I said, we went through a very, very hard review yesterday, laid some things on the table which need to be fixed from the players and coaches, but we left them with a little bit of a clip about what they did well, which is about a minute or so, just to reinforce that when we do it, we do it well. Some highlights of some tackles, some highlights of some spoils, some highlights of some efforts that you guys as supporters want to see, not only for 10 or 15 minutes of the game, but for the whole game. So just to reinforce that we have got the ability to do it, It's just having the want to do it for the whole game. So, again, hopefully you get to see that this week. Really important for the club and the players that we come out and have a real crack against the Eagles this week. Repay the supporters who come and visit us and watch us every week, and hopefully we get a better showing this week.